If you're buying a camper van based on the walk-around video, you're locking in a $30,000 depreciation hit before you even sleep in it. Here's what nobody tells you. The things that excite you on day 1 are not the things that matter on day 180. I'm talking about real ownership, when the new smell is gone, when you've driven through actual weather, when you've slept in parking lots and actually used the shower. Today, I'm breaking down what separates camper vans that hold their value and keep you happy from the ones that turn into regret machines. And I'm using real data from 6 months in our Mercedes Sprinter-based Winnebago Revel to show you exactly what to prioritize before you sign anything. Section 1. The maintenance cost reality. Let's start with the thing that will either save you or bankrupt you: serviceability. When you're standing in a dealership, you're looking at cabinet finishes and roof racks. What you should be looking at is this: can a normal mechanic work on this van, or are you married to the dealer network forever? Here's the difference. My Sprinter chassis, any Mercedes dealer, any Sprinter specialist, even some independent diesel shop can service it. Parts are available, there's a network. When our DEF system threw a code in rural Oregon, we were back on the road in 2 days. Compare that to some of the proprietary chassis systems or European imports with limited US presence. I've talked to owners waiting 3 weeks for parts. One guy with a Fiat Ducato-based van spent $1,200 just in diagnostic fees because the local shop didn't have the software. Here's where most people get this wrong. The house systems cost more to maintain than the drivetrain. Our Truma water heater needed a $340 circuit board replacement at month 4, not covered under warranty because it was classified as wear and tear. The Dometic fridge, we've already replaced the 12-volt fuse assembly once. This is why vans with standard RV components, suburban furnaces, basic Dometic appliances are smarter long-term plays than vans with proprietary everything. When something breaks at 3 years old, you want to find parts on Amazon, not wait for a container ship from Germany. And here's what dealers won't say out loud. Warranty coverage is designed around their convenience, not your trip. Our comprehensive warranty didn't cover the $800 cassette toilet replacement because chemical damage isn't included. These little exclusions add up fast. But breakdowns don't just cost money, they steal time, and time is what you bought the van for. Imagine planning your retirement trip for years and spending it in a service waiting room because you chose the wrong chassis. That's not a repair bill, that's a stolen experience you can't get back. But maintenance costs are predictable compared to the one thing that's costing owners tens of thousands in year 1 alone, and it has nothing to do with the van itself. Section 2. The depreciation truth nobody mentions. Depreciation is where most buyers lose the game before they even start playing. Here's the brutal math. A $150,000 Class B camper van loses approximately $20,000 to $30,000 in value the moment you drive it off the lot. Not because it's bad, because it's used now. In the first year, you're looking at 15 to 20% depreciation on average. By year 3, you're down 30 to 35%. And if you financed at 6%, that first-year depreciation plus interest means you could be $40,000 underwater before year 2. You're not building equity, you're funding someone else's wealth. Imagine explaining to your spouse that the van you convinced them to buy just lost $35,000 in 12 months. But here's what changes that math entirely: the base vehicle. Sprinter-based vans hold value better than anything else in the US market right now. Even with high mileage, the chassis itself has resale demand for contractors, delivery companies, and conversion builders. I'm seeing 2019 Revels with 60,000 miles selling for 70% of their original MSRP. Now here's what surprised me. Transit-based vans, great vans, solid Ford network, depreciate steeper. The resale market for used transit conversions is softer. In ProMaster, even worse depreciation curve, partly because of the Fiat reliability reputation, fair or not. Here's where regret starts: treating the van like identity instead of equipment. Smart buyers understand this is a tool, not a trophy. That mental shift alone saves you $50,000. The smarter play nobody talks about: buy a 2-year-old van with 15,000 miles. Let someone else eat that first-year depreciation hit. You get a basically new van, any issues have been sorted under warranty, and you save $35,000 to $50,000 instantly. But if you're buying new, understand this: your depreciation is lowest when the van has utility beyond camping. A Sprinter 4x4 diesel, that's a platform. A custom-built luxury van with fixed furniture and no cargo space, that's a niche product with a smaller buyer pool later. The part dealers won't say out loud: if you're not planning to keep the van for 7+ years, you're better off renting or buying used. The depreciation math doesn't work for 3-year ownership cycles unless you're wealthy enough not to care. Now here's the thing that matters more than depreciation, more than maintenance costs, and it's the reason half of van owners quit within 18 months. The livability factor. Space planning is where the romance of van life meets the reality of human needs. After 6 months, here's what I've learned. You don't need more space, you need smarter space, and most vans get this completely wrong because they're designed for the fantasy, not for Tuesday. Here's where this gets decisive. If you're over 50, fixed bed wins. Comfort compounds over years. Your back will thank you. If you're under 35 and active, modularity wins. You need versatility more than you need plush sleeping every night. The vans that fail? The ones trying to be both. We've got a fixed bed in the back, looks great, sleeps great, but it means we can't carry bikes inside, can't haul furniture, can't adapt. The Winnebago's Solace Pocket has a seat that converts. The Storyteller Overland Mode has removable components. That's the difference. Here's the thing about showers. We've used ours 11 times in 6 months. 11. Everyone obsesses over wet baths and garage showers, but the reality is you're using campground facilities, gym memberships, and solar showers most of the time. That space could be storage. Toilet, different story. We use the cassette toilet almost daily. It's freedom. The difference between a good cassette system and a bad one is smell management and dump logistics. Thetford wins here. Parts are available everywhere and the seals actually work. Kitchen workflow matters more than kitchen size. Our 2-burner stove and small sink work because everything is within arm's reach. Here's the test. Can you make coffee in under 3 minutes while someone else is getting dressed? If no, the layout is bad. This is the coffee test. It sounds simple, but it exposes every layout flaw. Now here's what surprised me about insulation. Our Sprinter has factory insulation plus aftermarket additions. We've slept comfortably in 15 degrees F temperatures and in 90 degrees heat. But insulation only works with proper ventilation. We've got a max air fan and 2 thin-solade window covers. Without air movement, insulation traps humidity, and you wake up to condensation dripping on your face. The vans that fail the livability test are the ones designed by people who camp on weekends, not by people who actually live this lifestyle. If the designer hasn't spent 30 consecutive nights in the van, the layout will have problems you'll discover on night 31. But none of this matters if you make the mistakes 70% of first-time buyers make, and it has nothing to do with the van you choose. Section 4. The real decision: size and power. Here's the truth. Most people buy too much van. You don't need a 24-foot Class B. You probably don't even need a 21-footer. The sweet spot for drivability, parking, and daily use is 19 to 20 feet. Anything bigger, and you're avoiding parking garages, struggling in cities, and burning more fuel. Our Revel is 19.5 feet. We can park in standard spots, we fit in most parking garages, and we can drive it like a normal vehicle. The difference between 19 feet and 22 feet sounds small, but it's the difference between easy daily driver and requires planning for every parking situation. Here's where regret starts: treating the van like identity instead of the Twer van. Smaller is freedom, bigger is compromise. But here's the bigger issue, and this is the part dealers won't say out loud: power systems. Factory power systems are designed for campground users, not off-grid living. Most vans come with 200 to 400 watts of solar and a small lithium-ion. That's fine if you're moving every day and plugging in regularly. It's not fine if you want to actually boondock or work remotely. We upgraded to 600 watts of solar and 300 Ah of lithium within the first month. Cost us $3,500, but it's been the best money we've spent. We can run the fridge, charge laptops, use lights, and still have power for a cloudy day. Most factory systems can't do that. The rule is calculate your actual power needs, then double it. Everyone underestimates how much power they'll use once they're actually living in the van. And here's the truth about power regret. It's the most expensive upgrade regret, because by the time you realize you need more capacity, you're ripping out components that cost you thousands originally. Build it right from day one or buy used from someone who already made the upgrade. Diesel versus gas? If you're in the US and planning to travel Canada or Mexico, diesel is smarter. Better fuel economy, better torque, longer engine life. If you're staying in the US and doing mostly short trips, gas is simpler and cheaper to maintain. Four-wheel drive? Only necessary if you're actually going off-road regularly. For 90% of van users, two-wheel drive with good tires is enough. 4x4 adds weight, complexity, and cost, but if you're chasing dispersed camping in Colorado or Utah, it's worth it. Section 5. Who should buy what? Let me be direct about who these vans are actually for. If you're retired and planning to travel 6+ months per year, a Class B makes sense, but buy used, buy Sprinter-based, and prioritize serviceability over luxury features. You want reliability, not Instagram aesthetics. At this stage of life, breakdowns steal more than money. They steal health and peace. If you're a family testing van life, rent for 3 months before buying anything. Most families realize they need more space or less commitment. The vans that work for families have flexible seating, real seat belts for kids, and storage for the chaos that comes with children. If you're planning full-time van life under age 40, here's the hard truth. Buy the cheapest, reliable option that meets your needs. You'll probably change your setup in 2 to 3 years as you figure out what actually matters. Don't lock up $150,000 in a depreciating asset when an $80,000 used van will teach you the same lessons. If you're weekend warriors, honestly, a van might not be your best move. A truck camper or a small travel trailer offers more flexibility for less money. Vans make sense when you're using them regularly enough to justify the cost. And if you're buying for the gram, don't. The prettiest vans are often the worst to actually live in. Real wealth looks boring. The smartest buyer in the campground is usually driving the least impressive van. Here's what's going to make some people angry. Most campervan buyers don't need a Revel. They need discipline. I'm serious. The Winnebago Revel is an incredible machine, but 60% of buyers don't need what it offers. They need a bed, a cooler, and a place to make coffee. The rest is luxury that costs you $100,000 plus and traps you in a payment plan. A $10,000 used minivan in a $2,000 build would make most buyers happier and wealthier, but that requires the discipline to separate what you want from what you need, and most people fail that test before they even visit a dealership. The question isn't, can I afford this van? The question is this van the smartest way to achieve what I actually want? And for most people, the honest answer is no. After 6 months, here's what matters: serviceability, smart depreciation planning, livable layout, adequate power, and honest assessment of your actual needs versus your aspirational needs. The best campervan isn't the one with the most features. It's the one that still makes you happy when the novelty wears off and you're dealing with real life, breakdowns, weather, tight budgets, and the daily routine of actually living this lifestyle. Smart buyers treat vans like equipment, not like identity. That mental shift alone is worth $50,000. If you're serious about buying, spend less than you can afford, prioritize the chassis over the conversion, and plan for the 2-year mark, not the 2-day mark. That's how you make a strategic decision instead of an emotional mistake. Drop a comment. If your goal is freedom, which matters more, the van or the runway? Because runway is cash reserves, and most buyers drain theirs chasing status instead of building security. Freedom isn't about the van you post, it's about the one you can afford to keep.